What's up, everybody?
It's Will from Interesting Productions again, back for your Saturday.
This week's topic is villains. I'm not exactly sure what everyone else has said because I'm filming this video a little early, but I'll just get right down to it and say probably everyone hasn't just chosen one villain. There are just so many awesome villains, and it was so hard for me to decide, like, my favorite type of villain even, or, like, just one villain. So I've narrowed it down to a top 5/6. The first 5 are from anime, and this last one is a Disney character. Yes, I do like Disney villains too. First villain, Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. I don't know how Frieza plays into the series farther on, if he does at all, because I think he's dead, because I've just finished the Cell Game saga in Dragon Ball Z. But what I've seen of him so far is really cool. I usually like villains who are so caught up in themselves and exploit their power so that they can have anything they want, and that is exactly what Frieza does. For Frieza, killing is as natural as breathing, but he doesn't really breathe because he can breathe in the atmosphere and in space and whatever. And Frieza's minions show like how much fear they have for Frieza, his immense power, even though that's dwarfed later on in the series. At the time, Frieza is the strongest thing out there, and it's so cool that you can see, like, you can even feel what Frieza's done in the past to make them fear him so much. After all, he did destroy Planet Vegeta with a flick of his finger. Second villain, Barry the Chopper from Full Metal Alchemist. When I say that, I mean the original animation. In the original anime for Full Metal Alchemist, they kind of went into depth on Barry the Chopper's story when he was a human. I really like this character because of one of his main things. He's freaking insane. I cannot tell you how intriguing, interesting, and just downright awesome I think villains are when they're absolutely insane and just enjoy killing as much as they do. As Barry the Chopper explains it, his first victim was his wife. She was nagging about something, and then, poof, he sliced her up. And then from there, he just loved the feeling of slicing stuff up. He was already a butcher after all, so he decided to go on a rampage and kill any innocent women he could find. How it's described and the look in his eyes that he has no problem with it. He enjoys killing. He's that insane. That kind of character is an enigma to me, but that just because I can't understand them at all just makes me so fascinated with them. On the same guidelines, my third favorite character is Solve J. Kimbley from Full Metal Alchemist, the manga and Brotherhood. The manga in particular does a really good job of explaining Kimbley's need for killing. He likes it when things go boom. I think in the anime they don't really show this as much as they do in the manga, but I felt Kimbley's thrill, his insatiable hunger for explosions, no matter if they're supposed to be on his side or the enemy. It's just, he enjoys just doing his job of blowing stuff up. Fourth favorite character is Lad Russo from Baccano. I don't know how many people have seen Baccano, but it's essentially this like 1930s gang warfare mixed in with immortal stuff, and it's a really cool series. You should check it out. And Russo is one of the many main characters who plays a pretty big role in the series. He's this assassin for a big company at the time, but also he just kind of kills for the fun of it. The reason he wears a white suit on the Flying Pussyfoot where he's about to kill a whole bunch of people is so he can see the blood splattered on his clothes. That's freaking epic! So, as you might be able to tell now, I really like insane characters. But I also really like it when villains aren't really villains. Prime example, my fifth favorite villain is Lady Eboshi from Princess Mononoke. Lady Eboshi is the governor and kind of ruler of this city called Irontown in Muromachi period Japan. It's been her endeavor to make the city as profitable and as successful as possible by mining iron out of the sand that they've built their city on top of. It's been her endeavor to make the city as successful as possible by mining iron out of the sand that the city is built on top of. And to expand her city, she wants to cut down the sacred forest that's right next to her city. But the spirit of the forest doesn't want that. The majority of the movie has her fighting against the spirits of nature so that she can expand her city, while the main character, Ashitaka, is kind of opposed to that and staying on the nature side. You would initially think that Lady Eboshi is the bad guy because she's going against nature and she's trying to expand her city. But if you really think about it, isn't that what we've done in the past 100 years? Princess Mononoke is a wonderful movie about just the relationship of humanity versus nature and just that whole expansion concept. Also, the creator Miyazaki complexes her character by giving her a lot of really nice traits. The workers she has at her ironworks in Irontown are prostitutes at brothels that she just hired so that they could have a decent job. Lady Eboshi has also hired lepers, ignoring their disease, and had them make guns for their warfare against the samurai and the spirits of the forest. While Lady Eboshi is definitely ambitious, she's doing it for a good cause, and she's benefiting a lot of people. If you were to look at her in today's aspects, she would definitely be considered a hero, but because the spirits of the forest are the main protagonists of the story, she's made to be a villain. I really like those kind of villains who are just mixed, that have a right cause, but because they're conflicting with the main characters, they can be considered villains. So that's all for my anime villains. Now here's my Disney favorite villain, Dr. Facilier from Princess and the Frog. I initially loved Princess of the Frog simply because it's placed in New Orleans and my family's from Louisiana, so I'm really into that whole like Cajun, Louisiana kind of culture. But then Dr. Facilier has something about him that's just intriguing and kind of spooky. Dr. Facilier is a voodoo magic user in that he places curses and he's trying to get his own gain by working with these spirits of the other world so that he can aspire to rule New Orleans. And because he has this contract with these spirits, he has to do certain things for them and they do certain things for him in return. But when he fails to hold up his bargain, he's sucked into the other world and becomes this like stone statue in our world, and who knows what kind of torture he's going through in the spirit world. It's not only is like his spooky image and the voice for him, it's so cool. I love that, but just the fact that he has to rely on a power that's greater than him, and he aspires to this great thing, but he's responsible for when he messes up. It's really cool. Well, that's about everything I have to say about villains. For Neverworld, we'll see what villains you like tomorrow. See you next week, everybody!